guys, today we are going to talk about one thing and one thing only. So as I have the circled word because I forgot to hit record, we are going to be talking at functions. So we are going to be looking at relations presented in different formats, and the question of the hour is this bad boy a function? Now, in order for us to answer that question, is this a function? Is this relation a function? We need to know what a function is. So let's start from the top. So the first one is a relation. What is that? A relation is the set of ordered pairs. So set, we use those braces, open and close brace. Yeah, pretend that's a close brace, to indicate what's in it. What is a relation? It's some kind of set, okay? But what's so special about this set? A relation is a set of ordered pairs. So let's just make one up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know, pretty creative. I amaze myself. Cool. Now, so that's it. Relation, that's fancy talk for set of ordered pairs, okay? Domain, what is that? So the domain is the set of all the input values, or in English, it's all the x values, okay? So let's just say the question was, what's the domain of this relation? We're like, okay, domain, set of all the input values, or in English, set of all the x values. I'm just going to use the uppercase D for domain. That will be our accepted abbreviation for domain. And the domain equals what? The set of all the input values. Okay, so what are those input values, or those x values? So in this case, it's going to be 1, 3, 5, and we're going to write that in as a set. So it's the set of all the input values. So it'll be 1, 3, 5. Cool. All right, up next and in our definitions is range. So the range is the set of all the output values. So in English, it's going to be all the y's. So we're looking at this relation, and then the output values, or the y's, are going to be given by 2, 4, 6. So we have range, set of all the output values, or the y's, 2, 4, 6. Okay, the popular mistake is that students will just list them out, 2, 4, 6, but they won't put them in set notation, so be careful. Okay, for the what am I trying to find? For the something of the hour, insert the word that I'm trying to look for. Okay, what is a function? So it says a function is a relation in which each input value corresponds to exactly one output value. Okay, so a function, it's a special relation where each input value corresponds to exactly one output value. And then I wrote different words. It says, in other words, none of the elements in the domain repeat. But for me, I just like to remember it how we have it in the first slide. What's a function? Oh, a function is a special relation where for each input there's exactly one output. So in order for me to explain this, I know you can read it. I'm going to explain it with examples. Okay. So we have fun problem number 1. So we have a total of 2 problems on this page. So it says, determine if the relation is a function. So in this case, we have a relation presented in a table format. If you would like to write it as a set of ordered pairs, then you put the braces, and then you put the ordered pairs, -2, -7, -2, 5, and etc. But I don't have time for that. Okay. So the question is, determine if the relation is a function. So I was like, oh man, what's the definition of a function? Oh, function. It's a relation where for each input value corresponds to exactly one output value. So this is how it's going to go down. We're going to look at all the input values, or all the x's, and then confirm or ensure that they correspond to exactly one output value. So our first problem, when the input is -2, the output is -7. But I lie. When the input is -2, the output, oh no, it could also be 5. So let me just write it out. When the input is -2, that's our x. The output, we only wanted one output. But when the input is -2, we have more than one output, or more than one choice. When the input is -2, the output is -7. And then +5. Okay, what's the definition of a function? So a function is a special relation where for each input there's exactly one output, or like in semi-English, like one choice per se. So in this case, for this input, there's more than one output. So to answer the question, is this relation a function? No. Okay, so I'm just going to write not a function. And as always, I kindly ask if you box your answers. Fantastic. Miss Torres, oh, I'm not supposed to say my name because I'm supposed to keep my identity a secret. Too late. Okay. Miss Torres, how come we didn't look at the rest of the elements? Because I didn't have to, you know. Once you realize that a relation is not a function, there's no need to investigate the rest of the elements. All right, problem B. So we want to know, does this relation in table format represent a function? So I don't know. What's a function? Oh, function. Special relation where for each input there's exactly one output. So let's make sure that all these input values correspond to exactly one output value. So we got input is 0, one output. One output for 1, one output for 3, one output for 5. So this relation passed the test with flying colors, so it represents a function. I'm going to say some other words, but I keep looking at the screen while I look at my paper, and I get a little bit lost. Okay, fun problem number 2. We have 4 problems for this set, for the set of exercises. So it says, give the domain and range of the relation, and then determine if the relation is a function. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna call a 3-part question. Why? Because there are 3 things that we need to spit out. Okay, so it says give the domain and range. So one of the things I need to answer is identify the domain. 2, I have to identify the range, and then for the punchline, determine if the relation is a function. Okay, so there's 3 questions, so there's 3 things that we need to submit for credit, or 3 answers. The order in which you answer them, I really don't care. I mean, you do what you gotta do. So for me, I'm just gonna, I don't want to confuse myself, so I'm gonna identify this in order. So what is a domain? These relations are presented a little bit different, but it's okay. The inputs are the first things, the things that we see on the left, and then the outputs are going to be the things that we see on the right. So the domain is going to be the set of all the input values. So what are those input values? 1, 2, 3, 5. So we have domain equals, we have our open brace, 1, 2, 3, 5, and then we do our close brace. Oh look, I'm improving. I'm so proud of myself. All right, what is the range? Range is the set of all the output values, so like the y's. So we have range equals, the elements are 10, 15, 19, and 27. So we have the set of these numbers, 10, 15, 19, and 27. Okay, I'm improving. Pretend that's a close brace. So for the grand finale, is this bad boy a function? I need to stop saying those words, but I can't. Is the relation a function? So I'm like, okay, what's the definition? What's the definition of a function? A function is a special relation where for each input value there corresponds a function is a special relation where each input value corresponds to exactly one output value. So let's go ahead, look at each element in the domain, and then make sure that each input value corresponds to one output value. So when the input is 1, one output. When the input is 2, oh, I'm crying. Okay, the input of 2 corresponds to 2 different output values. It corresponds to 15 and 19. So that makes me sad. So I'm going to write this on the side, not for credit. It's just for me. When the input is 2, the output is 15 and 19. Okay, too many choices. Again, definition. How can I tell if a relation is a function? A relation is a function if each input value corresponds to only one output value. But this is a lie. Okay, so in this case, it's not a function. So we have 3 questions. Number 1, what is the domain? 2, what is the range? 3, make the call if the relation is a function. We addressed all 3, so let's earn our full credit. Okay, second problem, domain, range, function. Again, which of the 3 you answer first, I don't really care. Just make sure you answer all 3. So the domain, the set of all the input values. The range, set of all the output values. So the domain, that's going to be these numbers. Go ahead, say them with me. So we have -5, -3, -1, 1, and 3. And then I'm going to do my best to do my close brace. Range, the range is going to be the set of all the output values, so like in, out. Okay, the range, we only have 3 elements, so we have 8, -2, 11. Okay, cool. So for the question of the hour, is this relation a function? I'm like, okay, what's that definition? A relation is a function if each input value corresponds to exactly one output value. So let's go ahead, check it out. -5 corresponds to one output. Cool. -3 corresponds to one output. Now, it's okay if 2 different inputs correspond to the same output, but what we want to make sure or verify, we want to make sure that each input corresponds to only one output. Okay, so yeah, so -5, one choice. -3, one choice, or one output. -1 corresponds to one output. +1 corresponds to one output. Who cares if it's the same one? But what I want to point out is that +1 is not going to two different things. Sorry, I need some water. Okay. For the final element that we're inspecting, +3 or 3 corresponds to one output. So in this case, since every element in the domain corresponds to one output, then this relation is a function. All right. 3 questions, 3 answers. Let's go ahead and earn our full credit. Okay, so the final 2 problems. Problem A. Oh, technical difficulties. This is what happens when you cut and paste. I know that you know that C comes after B, not A. All right. So I want to know, is this relation a function? So I don't know. We need to make sure that each input corresponds to one output. So again, there's 3 questions: domain, range, and is it a function? So you answer in any order of your liking. And remember, pause and rewind as many times as needed. Okay, the domain is gonna be the set of all the input values, or all the x's. So it's gonna be -5, -2, 0, 3, and 7. Fantastic. Range, okay, it's going to be the set of all the output values. So it's going to be 4, 3, 1, 2, and 11. Cool. All right, so the question of the hour, is this relation a function? And the answer is yes. Why? Because each input value corresponded to exactly one output value. So we have function. Okay, cool. All right, hopefully we have one that's not a function in this format so I can say more stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer those 3 famous questions: domain, range, and is it a function? So the domain, again, it's going to be the set of all the input values, or all the x's. So it's going to be -1, -2, +2, and -2 again. Oh no. So let me go ahead, circle this point, these points. So first things first, we're not going to write -2 again because we already have it in there. But I'm going to go ahead answer the question right now: is it a function? So when the input is -2, the output could be 4 and the output could be 5. Okay, what is a relation? So a relation is a function where each input value corresponds to one output value, and in this case we have more than one output. So let me go ahead, write not a function. Cool. Just because it's not a function, it doesn't mean that we have the green light not to answer domain and range. So we got to answer those no matter what. Okay, so I forgot where I'm at. So the domain, set of all the input values. So it's going to be -1, -2, -1, -2, +2, -2 again, but you only write it once. Okay, and then we have 4. Now, what about the range? The range is going to be the set of all the output values. So we have, where am I? So it's going to be 2, 4, 4 again, 4 again. This is why we need to sleep, people. Okay, 2, 4, 5, and 9. Oh, I'm so glad I passed this class already. Imagine. All right, pretend that's a closed brace. Okay, so the question says find the domain, find the range, and then let me know if it's a function. All right, so I think we're gonna take a pause right here, and in the next video we're gonna talk about the vertical line test. Thanks.